Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com. Well, yesterday was a rather exciting day for the market, all short covering, a lot of inside trading going on yesterday. But at 1:18 in the afternoon, President Trump threw in the towel, raised the white flag, and the markets took off. Unfortunately, we're not seeing any fall through to the upside on Thursday morning. So, my advice this morning, if I were to give advice, would be to just sit on your hands. If you were short something and it generated a buy signal from yesterday's trading action, I would cover that short position and just sit on my hands and wait for any continuation to the upside or to the downside to do something new. Now, on Thursday morning, we do have important inflation and employment numbers coming out at 8:30. They could certainly help change the direction of the market. Now, apparently, the president's reversal yesterday had a lot to do with the bond market. Now, this chart does not show overnight activity, but apparently, coming into yesterday morning's trading activity, there was apparently a lot of selling from China and Japan. That put downward pressure on the bond markets. And if bonds are falling, that means bond yields are rising. And apparently, the White House got kind of spooked that the bond market was going to run away without them. And of course, the White House would like lower interest rates, but that's not what's going to happen if foreign countries sell off their bond portfolios. Now, we've had panic selling over the past few days, and we got a huge reversal yesterday. It didn't cause a lot of damage so far. We still need more buying to the upside. Remember, we've had historically bad days recently, so to have a historic reversal is not that unusual. Now, when I talk about shorting, we always want to short from the top of the panic zones where an early warning signal has gone off and the chart starts to turn color. That's the time and place that you short. When does the rest of the world, when does the public like to short? Well, they like to short down here because that's where you get all the headlines. That's where you get all the emotional backup, the emotional support from the market telling you how terrible things have been when the easy short trade was from the top of the panic zones. So what happens down at the bottom here? Well, this is where the public gets interested in shorting. And I clipped this yesterday morning around 10 o'clock, so before yesterday's big reversal. But, the time and place to sell anything to do with shorting is after you've had a big sell-off, which of course is way too late for the average investor. So that's why you get these short covering rallies, because people get in at the last minute and decide that after the stock market's been down 3 weeks in a row, that this is probably a good time to short the market. When, of course, we get these big short covering reversals that happen very, very quickly. Now, I don't know what President Trump's trying to do. Nobody in the world knows what he's trying to do, but foreign diplomacy is not his strong card. He didn't make any friends the first time he was president. Just Russia and North Korea were the only people he actually got along with, and I think that's one of the reasons he hated Prime Minister Trudeau so much, is because he got along with everybody. Everybody liked him. This foreign diplomacy stuff, it doesn't come natural. Trump's generally a bully, and that isn't the way that you handle the world markets. Some countries react to that. Some countries don't, and the ones that don't make up most of the world. So here we are. We're coming into Thursday's trading action. Yes, yesterday was a big up day. In percentage terms, not that big, but in numbers, yeah, it certainly was. But in percentage terms, it wasn't. So there's really nothing to do on Thursday morning. When we look at the VIX is still on a buy signal. The ETFs are still on buy signals, so no change there. When we look at the major indices, we've got a couple on buy signals, but yesterday was all about semiconductors. They were up sharply yesterday, nearly 20%. And then we had the Magnificent 7 ETF up just under 15%, and it's back on a buy signal. So if I was short that ETF, I'd cover that short position this morning and just sit on my hands. Looking at the Dow moved right up into the channel yesterday, so it certainly closed above the previous day's high and the previous day's high and the previous day's high. And so we're up, we filled a gap, and we've stopped on a dime here. The big winner on the Dow was NVIDIA. It is back on a buy signal. That's one of the reasons that the NASDAQ 100 and the Magnificent 7 ETF is back on a buy signal. And so if I was short NVIDIA right now, I would be covering that short position at the open. No joy for Boeing. It traded up to the upper channel line yesterday. Didn't do better than that. Apple was up on the day as well, but not enough to give us a new buy signal. What didn't work? Well, there were no losers on the Dow yesterday. Just the worst performing stock on the Dow was Johnson & Johnson. and you can see that it came off a much sharper low during the day, and we traded back down to the start of 2025. Looking at the S&P 500, it traded up to the upper channel line, so it was up 10.5%, while the equal weighted S&P 500 was only up 8%. So you can see that Nvidia, Apple, certainly having some weighting there in the S&P 500. What worked? Well, Micron Technology was the big winner, not enough to give us a buy signal, unlike United Airlines, which is back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. Again, I'm not going to chase that stock. Advanced Micro Devices up into the channel yesterday, no change in trend. What didn't work? Well, it was Dollar General was the big loser on the day. It is back on a sell signal as of Wednesday's close. Now, there's the NASDAQ 100. It is technically back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. Unlike the equal weighted or the next generation NASDAQ, neither of those generated buy signals. So again, I'm not going to chase anything here, but I will cover my short positions just to reduce my risk. Looking at Microchip Technology, it was the big winner on the NASDAQ, followed by MicroStrategy, followed by ARM Holdings. Those were the big winners, back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. What didn't work? Well, Exelon was the big loser on the NASDAQ yesterday, down less than 0.5% on the day. Now, moving on to the Canadian market, there's the iShares for the TSX 60 trading up to the lower channel line. The big winner was Shopify, up over 17% on the day, not enough to give us a buy signal. Then we had Tech and First Quantum. What didn't work yesterday was Hydro One, was the big loser on the TSX 60. Looking at the Vanguard Canada ETF, again, we traded up to the lower channel line. The big winner was Baytech. Now, I saw this, the number jumped out of the screen yesterday. It was up over 22%. That still doesn't get us anywhere. But when you've had stocks down sharply, you can get big numbers like being up 22% and hardly noticing it on the chart. Vermilion was also up on the day. It was up over 20% as well. Then Quebecor was the big loser. And then we had Air Canada. So Air Canada was up over 10% on the day. Still not enough to give us a buy signal. We'd need to close on Thursday above $14.40. Then looking at the world of commodities, big reversal day for crude oil and gasoline yesterday, and natural gas. No buy signals for any of them, but it's unfortunate that gasoline had to turn around so sharply yesterday. Was looking forward to paying a lot less for filling up this weekend. Then we had energy stocks making a new low on the TSX and in New York, but again, no change in trend. Last up this morning, we're looking at the world of metals, and a nice big update for copper. No change there. Huge update for gold yesterday. The GLD was up over $10 on the day. And then looking at gold stocks, they were up nicely on both sides of the border, but in both cases, no new buy signals for the major gold ETFs. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. It looks like we're going to see some selling at the open, but we do have to get over those economic numbers at 8:30 this morning, both inflation and employment, and they could certainly help change the direction of those pre-market futures traders. Have a great day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday, and on Friday morning, we'll walk through the most actively traded stocks from Thursday's trading action.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.